Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to introduce about the KT Corporation today. We brought the materials of the company's presentation consists of KT overview and credit highlights, the business overview and the strategies, and lastly, financial management, as you see. So I'd like to start with the KT overview at a glance starting. As you see here, the company has been a long-time history. So around, we say sometimes it's more than 100 years of telecommunication service in the country because of it's been a long time for main telecom carriers. The starting the part of the government organization for a long time, but year 2002 has been deprioritized by the government for the 100%. So now we are the 100% private company. And the shareholders' structures point of view, we got around 13% of the National Pension Service, and then around 50% by the foreign investors, and others is from domestic, the institution investors and the personal investors. And also the company's the credit overview. We have the international ratings by three major rating agencies, as you see, A3 and A- by Moody's and S&P respectively, and then A ratings from Fitch. Lastly, see the revenue breakdown by the business, and as you see, we got around 30% from the wireless, and rest of the 30% is from the wire, so consists of the telephonies and broadband and IPTVs. And especially I'd like to point the B2B, which is the revenue from the business account, around 12%. And the rest of them is in our from our affiliate as 25%. So if you see next slide, we have the breakdown of our the affiliate revenue. Start the larger portion by the PC card, which is the largest credit card processing company, as our important the players of the consolidation business in the financial sectors. Recently, PC Card has become the largest shareholders of the K-Bank, which is the one of the two internet banks in Korea. And we hope to see that this, the K-Bank, the growing is a continue the sooner or later, so that we have the positive the business reaction from that these sectors too. Also focusing with the media is Skylight, which is the satellite broadcasting company, and the contents is musics or the shoppings, the commerce, and especially KT Estate, which is a real estate business, is also around 2%, but is still growing too. So that the total 70.7% of the service revenue consists of the pictures you see now here. Then maybe we'll see in details of KT itself with the core telecommunication business. This is tables of the comparison between recent the performance of last year's and this year's. The reason we are focusing on this is because of, as you know, we are middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, so that as a good idea to see how the company has been the managed or making the result of this year's compared to last year, so that we brought the YTD basis point of 3Q of last year's and this year. Fortunately, we still see positive numbers of service revenue, which is around 0.4% increasing. And also, we'd like to focusing on operating profit, which is 1.4%. This is a quite a meaningful number for us because the starting of this year's, when I remember of that point, in fact, was quite the big burden or the tough time will be this year's. But as the end of 3Q, we'll still see quite the positive results, so that we have is on track on our business. And the EBITDA number is in a 0.9% increasing this year's of 3Q, but we hope to see around 1% end of this year, so that not only for business performance, but also the cash generation is still this strong. If we magnify with the big three in our business sectors, the wireless and the broadband and IPTV is in also in increasing pattern. Not only for the revenue increasing the trend, but also the good to see here the stable numbers of the selling cost this is one of the good evidence that the market has been not much the unreasonably high level of the competition, but is managed as all three the players in telecommunication industry, as you see, is the reasonable maintaining as a good numbers of stable. Next one is in comparison between guidance and actual numbers in revenue in Capex number. So the higher the bar graph, which is the green colors, is in the guidance, which we normally release of our guidance at the beginning of the years. And then the solid green colors indicate that our actual result of that years. If we see 2016 and rest of the years, we see the higher numbers of the solid green colored bar graph, which means that our revenue has been the higher performance than our expectations at the beginning of the years. The same the pattern, the Capex number has been lower than the guidance number is because of our effort to increase of the efficiency of the Capex activities. I'd like to also focus on the year 2019. This is the very tough year for us because we started to build the 5G infrastructures the bit of last years. At that years, we gave to the market with the higher Capex guidance than before, because 2.3 was at year 2018 and 3.3 is in last year's. But fortunately, we ended with the around the same numbers. There were quite many challenges that I remember, but our management group and the rest of the whole company has the increase of our efficiencies as much as possible, so that thankfully we got the same numbers than the guidance. And I will touch a little bit more about the Capex later though, but these patterns will be continue, and then we see the total Capex expectation for the plan with next year will be in the same pattern, which is lower than the previous year. So that was the introductions of the company, and like to move to the credit highlight, starting with the credit rating, the comparisons. In this page, we have compared the domestic companies' ratings, as you see in left-hand side. We got quite high level, thankfully, but I'd like to also focus on not only for rating but also the outlook, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so that the economic the environment has been quite tough, but even among the telecom industry in domestic market, we still marked as stable the outlook as you see here. If we extend of our comparisons, not from domestic to international market, as a global peers, we still see the quite high levels of the ratings in global telecommunications. And rest of the page, bottom of our right-hand side, we got some the comment from rating agencies in recent their report. And one of the sentence that I see here is that the S&P's the report point of view, they believe that the telecommunication is still lower risk than the others in COVID-19 pandemic, and KT's operating performance is stable. Is a good word that I see after passing three tough the business activities in this year. Okay, next one is in the market share. As I mentioned, company has been a long time for main telecom carriers, so that our market share is still the big numbers here, as you see. The fixed line telephony is in around more than 63%, and then broadband is in 45%, and IPTV is a very similar numbers than the broadband. The reason I put the dot line here is because of the IPTVs and broadband is very much closely related. The reason is that because if any customers want to see our IPTV service, then that they should have the KT's broadband service. So that is connected very close. And also, since the KT has the largest market shares of the fixed line telephony, the broadband and fixed line is very similar because of the infrastructures using those two services the same. So that the fixed line customers and the broadband customers are the same or similar. So that we are now enjoying of the bundling effect on those three services, so that the churn rate has been lowering levels than the others. Wireless. We got the number 2 market shares around 31%, 31.8%. That I will touch more later though, but it used to be around 30% in KT's market shares of the wireless. But as you know, in Korea, the 5G service is growing rapidly. The 3 players, including us, has launched the 5G service in April last year, so that we got around 18 months of the 5G service providing this year. The KT has put our effort very much for providing the world best quality of the 5G service in this industry, in the service market, so that the reactions of the customer is quite good. The 1.8% seems to be increasing trend since that time. You know what? Our market shares of 1% is very difficult. I'm sure, but in Korea, even the Korean wireless market is changing slowly, and thankfully we got gaining more and more market share than before. Okay, that was a market share, and this slide shows that the subscribers. The wireless subscribers from year 2013 to this year, our compound annual growth rate is 4.8%. Many of you knows about the wireless market in Korea is saturated. Yes, it's very saturated. It's more than 100% of our penetration rate in this market, but it's growing. It's because not only for human being use the wireless telephony, but also the machinery use the telephony service too. Your tables or the briefcase, there's iPad or things like the pad. The computing system has the wireless the data communication module inside, and also your smartwatch using the wireless module too, and automobiles and so many things are using now the wireless data communications. So for them, it's a good the module for increasing the functions of their device. But our point of view is customer. So that's why the customer is increasing. And broadband is 1.9%, and IPTV is even 9%. This is huge numbers. So that this is a trend about the fixed line service changing from telephony to the data service. Lastly, the fixed line. This is minus 4.1%. It was still experiencing the customers losing because of lifestyle changing. So that this is global trend, lifestyle changing. Not many people using telephony service, but that number used to be even the worst, was around the minus 7% or something. But now it's getting better because around the 50% of our total customers are the business account. So that we hope to see this the negative numbers is getting smaller and smaller, so that in the future, so we see I don't think it's possible to see the increasing trend in the new futures though, but hope to see this stable than these the negative numbers. Next one is in the COVID-19. As I mentioned, we still see the good numbers in steady earnings in revenues and profit and the fund of the operation, though. But the one of the reason is because of the well-diversified of our revenue structures from telephony to media, finance, and real estate, and the B2B side. In B2B side, we have we have been focusing on these B2B sectors of the market starting this year. So we see it's quite it's a good increasing, so growing this revenue side that I will touch more later. So that was a credit highlight. I would like to move to the business, starting with the wireless. Okay, here is in subscriber trend from year 2017 to 20. And as you see, we got pink colors of the small portions of the customers, but it's growing. This is 5G. As I mentioned, so we launched the 5G service in April last year as our very first players in global market. Not only for KT, but also our competitors, SK Telecom's LGU Plus has launched their service at the same time. Not only for KT, but also those two service customers are growing too. This is good because in industry as a whole, the customers are changing from LTE device to 5G device. So at the end of last year, so we got around 10% of our total customers using LTE to 5G, now 20%. We hope to see, and we think we will be around 25% at the end of this year. And if these patterns of the increasing is the same to the end of the next years, we might have some around 30 to 40% expecting. If that numbers will be in that year's time of the years, I should carefully, but I should maybe say that now the 5G service is becoming a mass service in wireless market. So customers are now using better service than before. So it's a good for them to enjoy a better or higher quality of the data communication service than before. For us, our revenue is increasing because the 5G service is expensive than the LTE service. It's a better service. So as you see in the bottom, we have some complicated regulations in the market though, but we still see the revenues and output numbers increasing. Here is our service plan table. I know it's a very complicated things, but the one message here is that from LTE to 5G, customers changing handset from the LTE to 5G is assigning for the higher the data consuming plan than before. And now 5G to 5G value-added service, we call that the service plan choices. This is not only for providing the higher data the service, but also including some value-added service such as Netflix. Then the customers are signing for this, so that the customers using 5G has these higher the intentions to use data communication with a high quality service, so that they pay more. So we believe this will continue in next several years. So that was a wireless. I'd like to move to the broadband. As you see here, revenue and subscribers in increasing trend, and then here the giga internet subscriber is a trend too. This is something new service that company has launched a couple of years ago. Normally we say the FTTH speed, which is a fiber to the home. Normally we say that the 100 megabit per second speed we say, but in the giga internet is logical speed is 10 times faster than the 100 megabit per second, which is 1000 megabit per second, so-called giga internet. Around 64% of customers are now using the giga internet than just 100 megabit per second. It's because not only for computing the purpose, but also the broadband is now the purpose of the media service consuming. The bottom here, the gray colors and the red colors. This is the pictures. Is a very. I'm I'm sure to say it's very much big meaning for me because this is only pictures of the KT, not the rest of the competitors, because KT has been long time so the main telecom carriers, so that our customers of telephony, fixed line telephony is largest than the customers, the competitors. Good thing was that the fixed line has been a big engine for growing the company for a long time, but as I mentioned, these days is a portion of decreasing. So the comparing between last year's or even 5 years ago or even decades ago, revenue is decreasing because of the customers not using the telephony service. But the company has also focusing on telephony to broadband service as expanding about the fixed line service concept. So increasing of the broadband, also in Korea it's a very unique the industry, IPTV service has also the simultaneously growing than before. So the red colors of the bar graph increasing is higher or taller than the gray colors of the revenue decreasing by the telephony. So now from 2015 to 16, the red color increasing is now enough to offset about decrease of the telephony, so that we carefully say that maybe this is almost end of the tunnels about the suffering, only for decreasing of the telephony, but also the opportunity to increasing of the broadband IPTV as a resulting of the fixed line business increasing trend in a revenue point of view. So that was the broadband, and next one is in media. For those who haven't seen the IPTVs before, maybe because this is very the Korean-oriented market, the IPTV is very similar with the cable TV. So the set-top box to TV and set-top box to the broadband network, so that they have the channel service and also the VOD service and the rest of others, the value-added service on the IP. This is a very popular service. It's competing with the cable TV industry in pay TV home market. As you see, bottom right side, the year 2017 total cable TV market share was 44%. Now it's around 15%, and the rest of that portion has become it has changed from cable TV to IPTV. So in KTs, we got around 34% or 35% in the near future, so that the company became not only for largest telecommunication players, but also largest the pay TV players in the market. And we got still the 15% of our revenue increasing from 17 to 20. It's very difficult to see the double digits of the growing rate in these days, but in IPTVs, indeed, this is a very the fast growing market, and we see this the pattern will be continue. The last of our business, the performance in B2B. Okay, what we call our customers sometimes saw that the telecommunication service consumer is a concept, right? But in B2B side, they are telecommunication service user, meaning increase of their efficiency of the process of their business, or increase of the levels of the productivities using IT telephony infrastructures from our service, so that they rebuilt of their business to better service than before, such as these days the untapped the business environment. So that these days more and more the business customers now increase about their Capex or the operating expenses for the telecom sectors, so that their the infrastructures in their IT in their company has been increasing. So we got 2.7 trillion last year, and not only for gray colors on the pie chart, but also the green color is in value-added service. That means the business customers require not only for connectivities, but also the total IT solution service for making the IT business environment. recently we launched a new business, the brand for the business account with the KT Enterprise. And then we are now the largest market shares of internet data centers in Asian market too. So that we will focus on this business continuously in this the COVID-19 untapped business environment. So that was the business. Lastly, financial management, starting with the credit metrics. As you know, we are in credit the market here, so that the debt to EBITDA numbers or the credit metrics is important. So we are now comparing with our recent years of the metrics performance, which is 1.8 to 1.4 is a quite the lower numbers. But this year's and last year, so we got slightly higher the debt to EBITDA number than last year's, but it's because of the 5G Capex though. But this number is a stable the management level, and EBITDA too is a quite strong numbers. And we compare them with the global peers that were the same rating levels, but we're still strong. And lastly, this is our Capex number, bottom left side. Here, the red dot line is our guidance, and the cumulative numbers of each sectors inside of the red dot box is our performance. And this year, so although we given to the market with the 3.1 trillion of the total Capex though, but the 1.7 is now the actual implementing numbers, and we to see maybe actual numbers of this year, so still the same lower than our guidance. And cash is in the decreasing trend from years of 14 to 17, but now also in the increasing trend from the 4 to 17, and that number is increasing too, but it will still in that EBITDA lowering the portions of the rating numbers here. So this is our ending of the presentations, and thank you very much for the sharing time with us again. And if you have any questions or more information needed, then please contact us through the bell or directly to the company. Then we'll give us the more information later. Thank you again. Thank you.